Hello everyone, welcome back. Toolbox session down here with Phil. We're doing some driver stuff tonight. So in the last lesson, in the last lesson we mentioned doing some driver stuff tonight. We're going to be delving into figures with flight scope, looking at the real specific stuff. So we just spoke off camera about bad shots and where they come from. You were saying that beforehand it was blocks and stuff and the occasional hook, whereas now it tends to be the good ones are straight, but we can get the odd pull and the odd over slice, push slice as well, can't we? Yeah. So I'm definitely thinking that tendencies are working more towards fade side than they are draw side straight away. But flight scope will reveal all. We need to get into it, don't we? So let's get into it. Whee.
Oh, there you go, there's a big pull.
A little bit mat first,
Yeah.
Sometimes when you go mat first, you want to kick that face short, so. Right, let's have a look at those numbers then. So, one big thing that we just spoke about off camera is that your club head speed is like ramped up now. So you've been training again, haven't you?
Yeah.
So like doing deadlifts and stuff like that. Just strongman training you, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
You can tell though, because like way that you use the ground and way that you generate forces, it's meaning that you're able to swing at 108, 109 mile an hour today. So, which at the same time as working to your advantage is probably working to your detriment, because when you're slightly off, it is off in it, and it's off in a longer direction than most other people tend to be. Not saying that like the speed is a bad thing, but this is we need to sort out everything else.
Right.
So like where paths are going and where club faces are twisted. So when we come to look at that stuff, angle of attack's pretty good, so you're like 0.5 degrees up, you're pretty level through the ball. Dynamic loft is 21 degrees, so that was the first red flag for me. That's quite lofted. Normally I'd like to see anything between like 13 and 17 with that kind of stuff, so we'll keep tabs on that. When we look at your path, on average, it was 2.8 degrees left, which kind of leans towards the reason why you're hitting occasional pulls, why you're hitting occasional like block slices and stuff. That face to path, on average, is 4.5 degrees twisted right of that path. That's
So
like,
it's an open path open to my swing direction, which means slice usually.
Most of the time. If we delve deeper into it though, and this is where it gets a bit confusing, is when we look at some singular shots. So we've seen paths that can be 2 right, we've seen paths that are 5 left, we've seen paths that are 0, we've seen paths that are 7 right, we've seen paths that are 7 left, 8 left, so it's like...
So it's consistent.
Yeah, and one about that inconsistency that we'll get in a minute, it's kind of where this stems from, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would take a deep dive into the faces to paths. We have 1 degree left, 8 degrees right, 11 degrees right, 0, straight shot, 15 degrees left, 15 degrees right, 17. And I think a lot of that, where it stems from is because when we look at your move, and I know we've touched on this briefly in the past before, can you see from the start of this downswing, can you see how this face gets open in here? So in this kind of transition in your swing, the face is wanting to point out to the right, isn't it? So a lot of it for you is a case of like how quick can you time it, how quick can you get this right hand working over on top and save it. So it's no coincidence that we're getting misses in both directions, depending on this face coming in, like that's a good one, but you slightly mistime it, it's slightly open, or you slightly mistime it and it's slightly closed. So what we need to do is kind of sort out this club face at a slightly earlier point than impact, definitely. It's probably like halfway down your backswing, and it's just going to be a case of let's see if we can strengthen it up here and then just keep it stable, because it's more like stability what we're after now, instead of this opening and closing. Like I said, it stems from face being open here and then having to save it, so we need to get it more closed coming down and then more stable throughout, and I've thankfully got a training aid that I made myself, so we'll be using that in the next part of this video. So,
It's a coat hanger.
it is. As you rightly pointed out, it is a coat hanger attached to a golf club. But what this is going to allow us to do, right, is it's super good for this club face awareness and club face control. So what I want you to do is, having a few practice swings with this, I want you to feel as though as you're working it down, I want you to feel as though that you're pressing or like twisting the golf club so that this part of the coat hanger is touching your left forearm. see the inside of it that way. So as I'm to do that on the way down, now you're noticing that my club face is definitely a lot squarer or more closed than what it would be, as if this hanger there were to be no pressure on it in this position. This is a similar position what you get your club face into at this point, and then from there you have to really, it's that battle into it.
Yeah, you can see it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was more like that, or
yeah. Because my train of thought nowadays is that you get this face in place, you get it in a stronger position. If you're just to rotate from there, it's kind of moving square to square to square, isn't it? Whereas the bad ones for myself and yourself is we get it open and then we have to get this face rotating to try and square it up. So not necessarily hitting golf balls with this, but just trying to get that feeling of front top of your backswing, twisting it so that this that side of the hanger is more in your left forearm, and then just kind of holding that face on the way through. That's it. Good. And then as it's going through, you can't afford to then keep rotating this face, so then it's almost like holding off a little bit more. Good. I'm guessing that's an unusual feeling for you, isn't it? To feel face strengthening from top of your backswing, yeah? So the way that we'll measure tonight, we'll measure like success is we'll keep filming, we'll check where club face is at different points, and then we'll relate it back to both sides, see what we're getting.
Okay.
Position, like almost like a 3/4 backswing. Have to mega time in this. If you hit these like mega terribles, I'll have to hold in time. So from this position, I want you to hit a couple. So what we're doing in this drill, ladies and gents, is I am, go on, take it up to the top again. So I'm twisting Phil's face closed to give him that sensation of it being more closed in his downswing, and then encouraging him to hit a couple. And hopefully not seeing go left. That was a superb shot, that one. Wicked. How's that feeling?
I'll probably take that.
Mate, as a bit of a drill, that's superb. So what we've done in essence there is strengthen your club face up from top at backswing, and then you've put like a release move on it that's not allowed that face to close down, and it's been really passive throughout. So super. I think it's a good swing thought for you, to try and get that left wrist more bowed.
Yeah. Bit DJ.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Lovely. So what we're starting to see now is path consistently being left, which I'm quite a big fan of, to be fair, because we're kind of nailing it down to one shot pattern now, aren't we? So it's taking it away from it being
two-way miss.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're starting to see left is the start line. Paths are going to help us out with that. Dynamic loft, we have just changed loft on driver. We've gone down from 11.5, right? Down to 9.5, so that's quite a big change. And it helps us with the dynamic loft number. So beforehand we saw this at about 18, so definitely a little bit too high considering Phil's speed. On this one, it were a little bit of an off-centre strike. It were a bit heely, but it still managed to go like 215 with the range balls. But most importantly, it's only 5 yard left, so we're really starting to see that gap now start to come in. So again, looking at some other shots, similar path that's going left, better dynamic loft delivered, and again it's only 2.6 yard offline. We'll look at this one, shot 30. This one was one where face just squared up to path, which meant that we missed it 12 yards left, but again very playable. You look at that ball flight. That one where face just twisted open to a path a little bit more than we wanted to, which as we were experimenting you could almost going to accept a few of them shots, but then again we're back on track with one which were a good strike in this occasion, path in that really good spot for Phil, 4 degrees left, and it's only missed 2 yards left again. So like 5 out of the last 6 shots have all been that really nice playable, slightly stronger lofted, just nice fade, like 230 with range balls. So let's keep on with these feelings. That one held up.
Yeah, that one's pretty good, I think.
Yeah. That was a total of 1.1 yard left, that one. Again, same delivery, so path 5 yards left, lost a lot better, just a stronger flight and fade now. Right, so something super interesting for you guys at home to look at now. Let's have a look at these club paths that we saw right at the start. So we saw 2 right, 4 left, 5 left, 4 left, 0.7 right, 1.4 right, 5 left, 7 right. So we have a real big mix of mostly left, but also some others mixed in. So we think about where that 2-way miss comes from. Just going to draw your attention to the last batch of drives that we hit. So we've gone 5 left, that is this number here, 5 left, 4.7 left, 4.3 left, 5 left, 2 left, 3 left, 5 left, 3 left. And what's the ball flight been for this last like 10-15 shots or so?
Probably about a 4 or 5 yard fade.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent.
Quite consistently.
Probably the ones that are only slightly left path, pretty straight, but
yeah, well, it's
all playable.
Yeah, so, more so a face aligning to a path, isn't it? And like we said off camera, you're going to have to get used to, if we're playing this pattern now of aiming left side, that a couple are going to stay there, a couple might just overfade, but now instead of it being a two-way miss, it's like a one-way miss almost, isn't it? Where the straighter ones are missing left side at fairways. And I mean, because we look at that big C word that's very hard to find with a driver when you swing it at 110 mile an hour like Phil does. And now we're seeing it. We're seeing like consistently passing the same degree going left, whereas before we had mixed in like rights and lefts. Good. A little bit heely.
Yeah.
Let's have a look what it's done. But again, this is the typical shot. This is the typical good bad one now. That being a total of 1.7 yards right of target now. We didn't strike it how we wanted to. We saw a drop off in distance, but thinking playability now wise, that's the shot, innit? That's what we're after. Delighted with that tonight. Hopefully, you know, we can take this straight out onto course next time. Next protocol for me and you is possibly seeing how this feeling translates to being on course. We could probably do, we're just getting out there and hit a lot of drivers now, couldn't we? And just really see how this pattern holds up to real life, real hole situations.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's what we need to do next. Maybe unless you see any, like as I always say to you, any pressing matters. But I think that's where we take this to next and get that confidence built back up again. Because obviously tonight you're swinging driver at 110 mile an hour and you're controlling your face and your path in these last 30 shots tremendously. So let's get it real life situation next. Let's get it out there.
Cool.
Alright mate, superb as ever.
Thank you.
Do the usuals, you guys at home, like, share, subscribe. See you soon, see you later, bye.